Welcome to the Geek'd Up podcast, episode number 12. I am your TV terminating, comic book collecting, movie messiah, video game god, or you can call me Cory.
What's up? It's just Jess.
Just Jess.
I will slit your throat one day.
I know. But anyway, how have you been?
Perfect. How have you been?
Oh, just chilling. Chilling like a villain. Other podcasts this week got canceled. So, focusing on this week, getting the video podcast up. Hopefully, all of you out there are going to be liking the video over the audio. It's a little something to look at. I know it's not much, but we're doing what we can. This is Booker right here.
Booker!
But there was a ton of news this week. So, for the first ever video podcast of the Geek'd Up podcast, let's talk about the Geek'd Up news. So, this week, like I said, there was a ton of news. First thing that comes to mind is Neil Blomkamp, one of my favorite sci-fi directors, modern day sci-fi directors, released some concept art of the Alien 5 movie, and it includes Ripley and Hicks. So it's going to be definitely skipping, it's Alien 1 and Aliens, and then Aliens 5. So that is that. Then also we got Natalie Allen Lynn from the Goldbergs joining the cast of Gotham as Bruce Wayne, little Bruce Wayne's love interest, Silver St. Cloud. What else?
So then we got the Flash Season 2's costume.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, look at it. It looks awesome.
Right off the bat, I notice that it has a white emblem. Mm-hmm. Which is like the comic book. So I'm guessing I'd have to say that in the comic book he doesn't put his costume on. Uh-huh. It kind of organically grows around him. I'm thinking that's what this is going to be. And not only that
would be cool.
Not only that, the Flash that he sees in the future is wearing that costume. So I think that's where we're headed with that.
Okay. Yeah, that should be good.
Also, Benicio del Toro is being eyed as the villain for Star Wars Episode 8, which is good. He's a good actor. I think he'd play a great villain for that. He was also in not Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in, it was Guardians of the Galaxy.
He looks like Brad Pitt. Is that who I'm thinking of?
He does look like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That is crazy. The Collector in Guardians of the Galaxy who had Howard the Duck, that was him.
Okay.
And then also Michael Chiklis has been cast in Gotham too. A lot of Gotham news this week coming out of there. What about Jurassic Park?
Jurassic World.
I always call it Jurassic Park.
I know, it's because you're old. It has taken the number 3 spot for all-time highest grossing movie, beating out The Avengers at $1.522 billion. Billion.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Who's number 1? Is it still Titanic?
Titanic, and then
it's still Titanic.
Avatar, and then
I really thought it might beat out Avatar, but I guess it won't.
No.
And now imagine how much Avatar 2's gonna make.
I don't know.
It's taken a long time.
He waited a long time for that buzz, so I'm not honestly that sure. I'm gonna see it because I love Avatar, but it's like that was a big deal when it came out. Now there's so many other movies like it.
Yeah.
But speaking of beating out, Black Ops 2 has now beaten out Red Dead Redemption as the most requested backwards compatible game on Xbox One.
Imagine that.
Which is weird to me because there's Call of Duty games on Xbox One. Like, are people, gonna really play the backwards compatible one and use that to play online? I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's
I'm not a
strange.
Black Ops player, though.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
We also got to see the release of a poster for Metal Gear Solid 5, a bloody poster. If you have not seen this image, check it out.
That's very, very bloody.
They're just bloody as hell.
Yeah.
And it's pretty weird, honestly.
This is kind of cool. Zack Snyder's son is rumored to play the Robin flashbacks in Batman vs. Superman.
Yep.
And he looks like he might be okay.
Yeah, he's been in movies of his before. He always plays the flashback kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the young Leonidas in 300 and the young Rorschach in Watchmen. So, yeah, I mean, I think he'll do a good job, if that's even true.
Yeah.
And, going by the comics, it has to be a flashback because of what happens to him. But we also get to see what July's PlayStation Network deals are. They are all listed on the Facebook page if you want to check them out at facebook.com/geekeduptv. Got a lot of them there for all you PlayStation 4 and PS3 and Vita owners. At the top of that list, it looks like Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Edition for $40. Wolfenstein: The Old Blood is $10. Transistor, which is a can't miss game, at $5. So there's a lot going on if you want to check that out at the Facebook page. And then there was a toy announced.
Oh.
What?
What was it?
Hot Toys, the maker of very detailed, very lifelike toys, is going to be putting out a miniature collectible that is 3 inches long, and it is of Ant-Man riding Antony. That's pretty cool.
I'm sure you'll get that.
I don't know. They're usually
expensive.
$150 to $300, So I don't know, a 3-inch one, what they're going to sell that for. Probably $100. I would hope not, but we'll see.
It has been confirmed that PS4 will release Rise of the Tomb Raider Holiday 2016. 1 year after it releases on Xbox.
Yeah. There's a
Why
lot
is that?
There's a lot of speculation about this. They've always maintained and said that this is a timed exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
That Xbox is getting it first, but it will be coming to PlayStation 4. The only question was when. It has been confirmed that it is coming out a year after, which is strange. I mean, I don't know if it's really going to help Xbox One sales, but it's going to hurt Tomb Raider sales. By the time it comes out on PlayStation 4, Uncharted 4 is going to be out, and that's what people are going to want who have a PlayStation 4. They're not going to want Tomb Raider. So it's just a very odd thing.
Well, poor Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And other Jurassic World news. June 22nd, 2018. 3 years from now, there will be a Jurassic World 2.
Mark your calendars.
It's going to be a good one.
I hope so. I hope they put as much into it as they did this one, at least.
I'm sure they want to break their records.
I also like that they're both coming back for it.
Yeah.
So it's not like the other ones where it's just scattered casts all the time and that they don't really go with each other. So I'm just curious what this is even going to be about.
I know. How are they going to go from here? What was Jurassic Park 2 about? I don't even remember.
I don't either. I don't care. I think the only one I remember is Lost World. And that's the one with the pterodactyl cage. And I almost think they brought a Tyrannosaurus Rex back on a boat. Or no? Am I thinking King Kong? I don't know.
I don't know.
Either way, I'm looking forward to that. That is going to be good. But
Indeed.
I think that's all the news we got for today.
All the news.
So let's get on to the Geek'd Up reviews.
Why so serious?
It's time for Geek'd Up Reviews.
This week, you read Constantine the Hellblazer, number 2 by Ming Doyle and James Tinian, art by Riley Rossimo. And I
did.
read Pisces number 3 by Curtis Wiebe, Johnny Christmas, and Tamara Bonvillain, which I think her name is pretty funny. Her last name is Bonvillain.
Very
She could
interesting.
be,
A Bond villain.
yeah. Let's start with Constantine the Hellblazer, numero 2.
Alright, so I'm going to keep this one very simple, not try to go in too much great detail. Okay, so basically, opening scene, Constantine is surrounded by all of his ghost friends. And at the ending of the first one of his ghost friends gets killed, which doesn't really make sense, because how can ghosts get killed again? Anyway.
Well, that's why, yeah.
So this whole issue is about trying to figure out what happened. So he's surrounded by his ghost friends, and he's trying to come up with a trap to lure this ghost killer in, and he's asking his ghost friends, hey, are you in? Because I need you guys there in order for this to work. So basically, he walks through all these places, and he's explaining each one to us about what happened here. And throughout this, he's talking about thin places. And it's basically a place where reality and another dimension are so close that it's, almost in our world. And it has a lot of energy. So the ghosts are following him around the city. He ends up making it to this one place, and he starts a ritual. And all his ghost friends are standing around, and he draws this. I'm not sure what it was.
Pentagram.
Was it a pentagram?
I thought it was, from what I remember.
He draws a pentagram on this glass, and all of a sudden the ghost killer comes. Should I leave it at that?
Well, it's a big freaking gross monster.
Yeah.
That he can't really handle.
Which he thought he could. He thought, I can stop anything right now. And he couldn't.
Yeah.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Read it if it sounds like your thing. What did you think about it?
I thought it was good. I hope that it would have more action, but I think this is just really gonna lead up to something really intense, interesting type thing, so I'm gonna give it a Michael Keaton. What do you give it?
I'm giving it a Michael Keaton as well. It was definitely a step down from the last
From the
issue.
first one, yeah.
Not a lot at all going on.
Mm-mm. That's why I just kind of kept it simple, because
it was...
like, if you get into too much detail, then you're going to be talking about it forever, if that makes sense. Because there really wasn't much going on, but then again, there was useless information in there.
Yeah, it was
kind of.
It felt like a huge filler.
Yeah, exactly.
Issue.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like we could have got to this monster thing and finished him if you took out all the crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
But, so, from Geek'd Up, Constantine, number 2, is getting a Michael Keaton. I read Pisces number 3 by Curtis Wiebe and Johnny Christmas. Colors by Tamara Bonvillain. This one starts off right where we left off. Actually, no, not right where we left off, but we're with our protagonist, Dylan. He's getting off of a bus, meeting his friend Henry. You know that they're kind of old friends by their little talk and all this, and it's weird because it starts out taking him to a high school football game, and he's curious why, and Henry's giving him beers to drink while they're there, and Henry starts talking about the Vietnamese girls and how there's no one in America quite like them, as small and tiny and tight as they are, and it's just really weird. And he goes, well, I did have one. And it's showing this cheerleader stretching the whole time. So you're sitting here thinking, like, this guy
is a creep.
Is having sex with teenagers.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And then, out of nowhere, he starts having a hallucination about just weird. One of his weird hallucinations that make this comic interesting. Like, it's all interesting, but the fact that he has these is what really pulls me in.
Yeah.
As this, it's about, it says the same thing every time. It was you are the constant, and his name is Ezekiel, which we have no idea what this is talking about. But this time, what leads him into this is these marks on Henry's neck, and he starts to see them in his thing, wakes up, and he has them. And, it just goes into a lot of weird things with that. He sees a picture, he steals it, we don't know why. Did you get that at all?
No. What were the things on Henry's neck? Were we supposed to know?
No, we don't know. That's the thing about this is it's about post-traumatic stress syndrome, but what? Like, we know he was in war.
Yeah.
He was a pilot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all we know about him. But
that's what kind of upsets me about this.
But the mystery I like. There's not too much mystery. We're given something every time. Like this one, we find out he was a pilot. We find out why Henry wants him there. That he wants to bring his uncle, Henry's uncle,
true.
Works for NASA, and they want to bring him back into space because they know they're good pilots.
Yeah.
So he doesn't give him an answer. He basically gives them the fuck you, fuck off thing. Like, I'm going to take care of my own problems. You have sex with teenagers. You take care of your problems.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it's left, except it ends on another weird hallucination about space also. So it's just a really weird comic book that has art that I really like.
Is he a time traveler?
I don't know. It's
and he's having PTSD from the future.
Yeah, or was he? Yeah, who knows? Like, I'm interested to know what this is.
I know.
But like I said, like the art, I do like the story. I just wish it was a miniseries. I wish I knew it was a miniseries, and here in 2 or 4 more issues, this would be done. You would
definitely know.
Because I can't put up with this Lost TV style type stuff forever. Like, I gotta know what the hell's going on.
Yep, I agree.
So I give this one a Michael Keaton as well. Same as Constantine.
What's below that?
And you don't like it as much as a Michael Keaton, so you're going to give it a George Clooney. Michael Keaton for me, George Clooney from Just Jess for Pisces number 3. If you're into trippy, weird, sci-fi, horror type things, you might want to look this up, at least the number 1. That does not sound interesting to you, skip it. Don't even worry about it. And that's it for the comic reviews until we get later into the verses. But we did see a movie this weekend, and we're going to talk about it.
Da-na-na-na-na.
What did we see?
I am the Ant-Man!
Ant-Man. As you know, we have the Geek'd Up music version of the Ant-Man rap because we were anticipating this movie, and we went in with high expectations. Did it disappoint?
No.
I know. What did you get out of this movie? What when you went in, what'd you think about it?
Well, I went in expecting it to be good. I came out and I was like, wow, that was really fucking good. Paul Rudd, the perfect choice for Ant-Man. Yep. They couldn't have casted that better. Actually, the whole cast
that's what I was just about to say.
Perfect. They did a
Michael Pena, awesome.
Yeah.
He was perfect. They were all good. Everyone was good.
Yeah. The thing as a whole, it was just good. The script, the 3D in this.
We did see it in 3D.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. And don't miss out on going to see it in 3D because it is really good 3D.
And it's not the pop out garbage like gimmick stuff. It really immerses you, especially when they go into like this quantum realm, and when he's small, you feel how small he is because of the 3D. But yeah, I really liked that this wasn't a world's about to end movie like Avengers Age of Ultron and Captain America. And
Like they all are.
Yeah, this was a guy who's helping out a scientist because somebody may use it to end the world, but you didn't feel that the
Pressure,
stakes were that
almost.
high.
Yeah.
It was more confined to a neighborhood where it was about this guy and his affection for his daughter and wanting to be a better person. It was just it's like a breather from the other movies, which I think we needed.
I agree.
And I really liked it. I mean, I thought, like you said, he did a great job. I don't know. I just really liked it. Like I said, Michael Pena, the stylized directing of every time he had to tell a story, and he was telling a story that was way too long.
Yeah.
But I loved how they did it. They didn't
Yeah.
just have him sit there and tell a story. They showed the characters that were saying what they're saying, but using his voice.
Right.
I really like that. One issue I did have is that
In
the comics, he is a thief. In this, he's a thief, but they play it up like
he's a good thief.
he did it for good. It was this one-time thing, and he screwed up. Yet, he's really good at being a thief. And the crime that he supposedly committed was on the computer.
Yeah.
So how can he move like that? How does he know about breaking safes and all that? It doesn't make sense. That
is very true.
That's where the writing bugged me. It's like, wait, is this guy a good thief who did one internet job, or is he a thief? You're making him out to be the best thief that ever lived.
Yeah.
He's done so many jobs and robbed so many things. Yet you play it out like he's a pussy who's done one internet small-time thing where he screwed the man out of money that he owed people.
Yep.
I just didn't get it. I didn't understand that because it just didn't make sense to me. Can't not talk about this without talking about Darren Cross and Corey Stoll's rendition of him and Yellow Jacket.
I can't say much comparing it to the comic book, obviously. But
I'm just talking about him being a good guy, but then a bad guy and being able to switch.
I know, wasn't it weird? Like, sometimes I felt kind of like, aw, he has a heart. And then by the end of the movie, I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
He's a dick. And there really were some funny parts in this movie.
Really funny.
Yeah. I just keep thinking about that ant.
Yeah. That one that grew.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used really good use of shrinking and growing.
Yep.
I thought, going back to how I said this wasn't an epic thing with humongous stakes of the world ending and all that, but I liked it because, like, that fight scene, and I'm not spoiling anything because it's the one on the commercial with the train and everything.
Yeah.
They're shrunk and they're fighting, and it feels epic. Like, they're fighting, and it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then the girl's in the closet looking at it, and it's just like, bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
So they did a good job of taking this fight that takes place in one little area of a girl's bedroom, and they make it seem like a massive action scene.
Yeah.
I like how they did that. I thought that was really good.
They did a really good job with that.
And then Hope Van Dyne, who in the comics is Hope Pym, but she takes on a different role in this compared to the comics.
Does she?
Yeah, in the comic books, she's bad. She becomes bad. She becomes the Red Queen, and she wants to destroy the Avengers.
Really?
Yeah, but in this, I like the route they went, that her mom was the Wasp, so she's taking over that role. Possibly. There are spoilers in this. So if you haven't seen it, that wasn't a huge spoiler. You were trying to stay away from that. She does not become the Wasp in the movie. I will tell you that.
Whoa.
What? Strong?
Sweet.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. Anyway, yeah, so that was different, and I like how, she wanted to be Ant-Man, They explained why she is not being, put in that role, and that's because Scott says he's expendable, she isn't, and it made a lot of sense, I thought. Then the only other thing is they go to this quantum realm, which in the comics is called the Microverse.
Oh.
And we know from what happened to Janet that she went there, and we know that, Scott could have went there if he did the thing the certain way. We also know that you don't die there. So...
yeah, you just keep shrinking
Yeah,
and
and
shrinking
shrinking.
and shrinking.
And in the comics, Janet Van Dyne is brought back from the Microverse.
Really?
She becomes a queen of this certain colony in the Microverse. And they find her and she comes back and she's the same age as when she went in because you don't age. He's older, she's the same age. I don't know if that's going to play a point. And
that would be interesting because at the end of this movie, he kind of seemed like he wanted to
investigate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Thanos has been to the Microverse, and he's a big part of the movies.
Yeah.
The Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
The Microverse may play a part in all this, and that may be why they wanted. I don't know. Who knows? But I really liked the movie. I think it was hilarious. I laughed throughout the whole thing. I think the special effects were really good.
Yeah.
I think if you're going into this as a Marvel movie and you want to see just the most badass action, this isn't for you. This isn't what Ant-Man is. This
Right.
is a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. You're going to laugh. You're going to see some cool action, but it's not going to be over the top, buildings being raised from, cities being raised from the earth.
Right.
It's just going to be fun. So, what did you think about it overall?
I'm going to give it a Ben Affleck because I didn't read the comics, so technically I can't have that point of view where you were kind of upset about how they changed his thieving or whatever. So I'm going to give it a Ben Affleck.
And I just want to rephrase. I wasn't upset about it. It just didn't make sense.
I know, it just wasn't even a thought in my head.
Yeah, and
that's all in all, it was a,
So do you just thought, you heard this was a one-time thing, and you thought, oh. And then you saw him doing what he was doing, and you thought, oh, he's done this a lot. So
Yeah.
you just bought it. Like, you
Yeah.
had no questions about it.
Like, because they did kind of, he did the thieving, and then he...
Burglaring, as he calls it.
Yeah. And then he, at the beginning of the movie, he was back in jail. And they're like, oh, good to see you again. Like, he's been there a lot. So it's like he couldn't get a job after the first time that he stuck it to the man.
They didn't say good to see you.
Yeah. They, remember he was fighting with that guy?
No, he says, I'm going to miss you. Because he's leaving. It was his last day there.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
he's
it's
been there
like-
for months. He knows these people. That was their going away thing as they fight. And he was just saying, I'm going to miss you because you've been here.
But then he goes out to his friend, and they're like, oh, good to see you again, man. And then the guy's like, oh, you want to do one last job? And,
He said,
you
no,
know-
I'm done.
yeah, but they kind of sometimes made it seem like
He does it.
he's done it. Like, he couldn't get a job after the first time, so he went to jail again. And then this time when we saw him, that was him, leaving. Not for the first time, but for,
Yeah,
multiple times of being there. So that's how I took it from somebody who hasn't read the comics.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, then it's not a big deal. I mean,
Right.
I got a little hung up on it because I'm like, wait a second. But anyway, that's
You know better, though.
That's a whole nother. No, I'm not even going. Even if I didn't read the comics, I still would go. Well, if he's done this once, how can he climb this building?
Are you saying I'm stupid?
No, I'm just saying I'm guessing a lot of people think of it like you did. I'm guessing. Let us know in the comments if you have seen this movie and you didn't think anything about that. Then just let us know. If you are on the same page as me and thought, yeah, that's a little weird, let us know that too. But anyway, you are giving it a Ben Affleck, and I am going to give it a Christian Bale, which is very high praise. I loved it. I'm going to buy that thing when it comes out and watch it again. I'm also a huge Paul Rudd fan. I got to stress that because I don't know if I would have liked it if it was a different actor.
I mean, would you look at this dick?
We're going to get this dick. I love that part. But I guess that's it for the reviews.
That is it.
Now, let's get into upcoming releases. So, this week for July 29th, 2015, this is what is going to be on my weekly poll, what is coming out in comic book stores near you or online. First off, from Image, we have Copperhead number 9, Lazarus number 18, which is Poison Part 2, Hawk forces engage Carlisle troops, Forever must take her place on the front. Then we got Low number 8, Material number 3 by Alesh Kott that I'm really looking forward to, Rasputin number 7, Spawn number 254, which has to do with the Titanic and having to destroy it, which is a little strange. Then we got Southern Bastards number 10, which is having to do with one of Boss's main men and how he's having a struggle with juggling being a coach and working for him. Then for Boom Studios, we got Deep State number 8, which the main people, Branch and Harrow, they learn the secrets of each other and that they're not who they say they are. Then we got DC. We have The Flash Annual number 4, Gotham by Midnight Annual number 1, and Superman number 42. And then from Marvel, we got Star Wars number 7. And in this one, it's a tale of Ben Kenobi. He gets his own comic in this one. So that's what I'm going to be getting this week. What are you going to be getting? Let me know. And this is for July 29th, 2015. And that is it for the upcoming releases. It's time for a Geek'd Up dramatic reading.
And now, a Geek'd Up dramatic reading.
So this week, we are going to be taking from Mythic number 1. It is a Image comic.
That was working with Spawn.
And she is going to be playing the female character. I'm going to be playing the male. It's going to go back and forth. Basically, it's a group of scientists that know... They're not really scientists. They're magicianists, I guess. They believe that magic is what rules the world, and there's no such thing as science, and they're trying to explain this to a scientist. So, let's go.
In other words, magic makes the world go round, and when it breaks, we fix it.
Cass, you're not really supposed to just come out and say it like that.
But I love the looks on their faces.
Point is, your valley's in a drought because the sky and the mountains haven't fucked lately. They're quarreling, see?
Oh, really?
That's what the smoke ritual tells me anyway. When the sky and the land bang, the rain follows. But Stormcloud has a bit of a wandering dick, and Rockwoman's been sore at him since last summer. They're what you call estranged. Until they bone, this valley stays dry as a bone, no pun intended.
Alright, okay, I get it. Have fun without me. I'll be in the car, you lunatics. What do you plan to do about it, Mr. Watterson?
Well, the smoke ritual only helps me diagnose.
You know how I feel about sharing my prophecies, Watterson.
I'll heed it, Cassandra, I promise.
Okay then. This is my prophecy. Watterson will seduce the Rock Mountain. Stormcloud's jealousy will trigger a reconciliation and the rain will return.
Me? Seduce? You gotten a gander at me lately, hun?
I have spoken, asshole.
Okay, so I guess I just,
Holla at her, man!
hey, baby.
Nice and loud.
Hey, mama, you like what you see? I could make you a very happy mountain elemental.
This is the opposite of working. He has no game. Perhaps you'll have to show her your wild side.
Wild side, you mean... Yeah, alright. Come here, Nate. Bring that wrench. Listen. Listen close. I'm gonna need you to knock my tooth out. Pop me a good one right in the jaw. It's the only way to, well, meet my other half. Why do you think you were issued a goddamn wrench in the first place, rookie?
He told me to do it. You all heard him. This fucking job, I swear. Insane.
Insane. That is our dramatic reading of Mythic #1. If you like what you heard, let us know. If that interests you, go pick up Mythic #1 from Image Comics. And now, it is time for the fans around the world have waited for. It's time for Versus. First up, Geek versus Girlfriend. And it's time for round 1.
Round one. Fight.
This week, you read The Fade Out #1 by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And you basically said it's about a writer who ends up being terrible at writing and is not selling. And he has to murder someone to create a story that will sell.
Yes.
So, what is this comic actually about? Were you right? Were you wrong?
I was very close.
Pretty close, I thought, until you went the murder route that he had to. So, let's hear it.
Okay, so basically, this comic follows a writer named Charlie. It's set in, the 1950s. And he works in Hollywood. He writes movies. He's in the middle of writing a movie. And he goes to this party. And he doesn't really remember what happens. He wakes up in somebody's studio apartment. And he's like, where am I? Where is everyone? Well, he goes searching around, trying to figure out where he is. Who does he find? The lead actress in the movie he is writing. She looks like she's been choked to death. And he starts freaking out like, I gotta leave. People can't know I was here. Because then they're gonna think I did it. I don't know if I did it. And, he's just basically in shock. So he leaves this actress's house. Does he call the cops? He didn't call the cops.
No, I think he just acts like he never knew what happened.
And so he doesn't call the cops. He goes home. And that's the last we see of him for a while. Flashes to the studio where he works. It shows a girl. I forgot her name. Dottie.
You're talking about the reception?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Shows Dottie. She gets a phone call.
That it happened.
Happened from the head of security. The head of security ends up calling in Charlie. Charlie goes in, and the head of security, Phil, basically says, we have to come up with a way to keep people calm, and so there's not riots or anything crazy going on. And he basically says that we're gonna say she committed suicide.
Yeah.
And Charlie is really upset about this because he's pretty positive somebody murdered her because he saw it. But then again, he can't say anything because he could be in trouble. So at the end of this comic, Charlie goes home, really upset, really disturbed by the fact that people are trying to cover this up and just make her look like this woe is me starlet.
Yeah.
Anyways, Charlie gets home, and when he gets there, there's his friend, who the public thinks he's not friends with anymore. And they live together, apparently. So he goes home to Gil. Gil stays with him. We don't know why Gil was there, what's going on, why they don't want people to know that they're actually friends. Anyway.
You don't yet?
No.
Oh. Pretty good.
Charlie reaches in his pocket. He feels something in there, and he's like, oh, what's that? It's a pair of black underwear. And his friend Gil is like, why do you have those? And Charlie says, I may have done something really bad. And that's where the comic ends. So we don't know, does he tell Gil? I'm sure he does, but we don't know for sure or not. If he does, so that's the end of the comic. I was pretty close. Kind of. Far off, but then close.
Yeah.
I guess that it was a writer and it had to do with killing.
Can you hand me that
What?
book? Yeah, but, I mean, what did you think of it?
I'm interested to see how he goes about trying to make sure this isn't just a cover-up for her. Because I feel like that's what he's going to try to do. Try to solve the murder. And I have a feeling it's going to go, like, way up in the...
Did you get to the new actress yet?
No.
See, I was behind on this comic. I kept hearing things, how good it was for 3 issues. Oh, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. So finally I was like, I gotta pick this up and read it. And they still had all 3 issues at the comic store, so I bought them. And I read all 3 issues that night, and I was like, damn, this is good. But I got to read the first 3 issues, so I really knew what was going on. And it's really good. I mean, why his friend is there with him is really good. And it's realistic. It's like what really happened back then. I just really like it. It's a realistic noir tale. So what do you give this?
I'm going to give it a Michael Keaton.
I'm giving it a Christian Bale. I really like it.
I like it, but... I don't know. I guess I just don't feel like I should give it a Christian Bale. I don't know why, but Michael Keaton.
It just wasn't really your thing.
I liked it, but I guess, yeah, maybe it just wasn't my... I don't know what it is, but I just love The Empty.
Yeah.
And I loved Why the Last Man.
It feels like this should be...
I know.
Yeah, but anyway, so it is getting a Michael Keaton and a Christian Bale from us. If you're into the noir tales, like the movies like Hollywoodland and, stuff like that.
It is good. It is good.
Definitely want to read it. Their first trade is out. Just check it out if that's something you're interested by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This week, I'm going to have you look at Black Science #1 by Rick Remender. Art by Matteo Scalera.
Scalera.
Look at that. Let me know what you think it is about.
I'm rolling with it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
A dad and a son. Dad's a scientist. Son wants to follow in his footsteps. Dad is trying to come up with some sort of scientific thing. Test it on frogs. The frogs end up getting mutated. But he's not a good scientist. He tries to invent maybe things that are bad, I'm going to say. And
So he's like Robin Williams in Flubber.
I don't remember that movie. I remember that movie, but I don't remember the details by any means. Anyway, so he tests it on all these frogs. These frogs end up becoming mutated, and there's like one queen bee frog. And they decided, oh fuck, we fucked up. And fuck, could I change it?
Sure. What is it about?
It's the same thing, but the father and son aren't bad. Somebody else mutated these frogs, and they're the only ones who can battle them because the dad is a really good scientist and the son wants to follow in his footsteps. Does that make sense now?
Sure. So, in short,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Somebody
a father
else.
and son.
Yes.
Father's a scientist, not a great scientist.
No, he's
You
a
said
good
he's
scientist.
not a good scientist. He does science on weird stuff that doesn't matter. That's what you said.
You said I could change it.
Yeah, I know.
He's a good scientist.
Okay, in short, what is this about?
Father, son. Father's a good scientist. Discovers that there's a bad scientist out there who did this testing on frogs. Made this like almost army of frogs. And the father and son are the only two people who can stop this because they're good scientists. And the only other scientist who can stop this is bad.
Gotcha. Locking that in. Come back next week to see if she is right or if she is wrong on Black Science #1 by Rick Remender and Matteo Scalera. But for now, that is it for Geek versus Girlfriend and the end of round 1. Now, it's time for Girlfriend versus
Geek.
Round two, fight.
Alright. So last week, I asked you, what kind of vegetable tastes like bacon that was newly discovered? You said...
I said aloe, but I want to refresh. I listened to this again, and I was very confused by the question because you said it was a new thing, and it's not. But
What
go
do you
ahead.
mean?
Let's find out. What was it? What tastes
What do you
like?
mean it's not?
Well, say what it is, so then I can discuss how it's not new.
Seaweed.
Seaweed.
Yeah.
That's not new.
It's a new form of seaweed.
You didn't say that. You just said seaweed. Is it seaweed or what is it? Just seaweed? You just take seaweed and you fry it and it tastes like bacon? That's not new.
Twice the nutritional value of kale.
Yeah, that's not new. They just newly found out that if you fry it, it tastes like bacon. That's what I kept getting caught up on. That's why I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to say aloe. But I'm dead wrong. I understand. I was close, though.
You were close. Sorry for misleading you again.
Twice in a row. What?
You act like I'm the Wicked Witch of the West. It kind of upsets me.
Anyway, so, what do they have to say about seaweed and bacon?
They think that it could be used in restaurants shortly.
I think it already is used in restaurants.
No, this is new.
How new? When was this report released?
Recent, like last week.
Okay.
They add the powder to smoothies in Europe, or add flakes onto food. There hasn't been a lot of interest in using it in a fresh form, but it's pretty amazing, especially when you fry it.
I mean, I'd be willing to try it.
Yeah, it would probably be pretty good, especially because we eat a lot of veggies now. So this week, I have a pretty interesting story. Shall we move on?
Sure.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Newlyweds are on their honeymoon.
Okay.
The bride gets killed. How? And it's in Colorado.
I mean, can you like give it? Can you make a story out of this or something?
They're
Like-
on a mountain. They just got married. The last day of their honeymoon, the bride gets killed and the spouse gets injured. They're on a mountain in Colorado, about 12,000 feet above sea level.
Is it snowing?
No, this is a field full of daisies, flowers, very beautiful mountain, scenic, not cold.
And he gets injured and she dies. How?
And it's not by an animal.
Oh. Is it by a plant?
I can't give you too many.
Is it?
No.
Okay, that's all. Okay. I'm gonna have to go with they were hiking.
Which they did often. They enjoyed that together.
And they fell into a pit.
Okay.
Man, I don't know what else to say. So that's my final answer.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm gonna lock. Okay, they
Okay.
were hiking and they fell into a pit. She was injured, or she was killed. He was injured. It was accident, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he got out and crawled to help or whatever, and she was dead. That is my final answer. Locking it in.
Locking it on.
Break. Go back to your corners.
That is it for Geek versus Girlfriend, Girlfriend versus Geek, the Versus segment in general, and the Geek'd Up podcast as you know it. Join us next week to see if I knew what I was talking about, if she knew what she was talking about, or if neither of us knew what we were talking about.
Probably both.
If you know what the answers are without looking them up, let us know in the comments below, and let us know what you think Black Science #1 is about and how this woman died. Let us know in the comments below. In the meantime, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekeduptv or on Twitter at twitter.com/geekeduptweets. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, tell your friends. Check out some of our other videos. We got the Geek'd Up music with Ant-Man and one with Mad Max, Fury Road, and a lot of comic book stuff and some E3 coverage. But until next time, I'm Cory.
And I'm just Jess.
Stay geeked up, and remember to always hug a xenomorph.
Always.